Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to have a fun little cartridge comparison. A comparison I didn't really think made sense at first, but the more I think about it, it actually makes a lot of sense. In today's video, we're comparing 6.5 Weatherby RPM to the 7mm PRC. We're going to find out, can the 6.5 Weatherby RPM hang with the 7 PRC? I think the results might surprise you. An initial thought, comparing a 6.5 Weatherby RPM to a 7 PRC kind of doesn't really make sense. One of them has a magnum bolt face in the 7 PRC. One of them has a standard length or standard bolt face. But as you look at it more, both of these cartridges have just about the same case capacity. Both are standard length cartridges. All right, let's put this to the test. Do these really have the same case capacity? Let's put the 7 PRC on the scale and then fill it with water. All right, now looking at the 7 PRC, this is a little surprising. It's basically 79 grains. Typically, I've seen it over 80, 80 and a half, maybe 81. Okay, time for the 6.5 RPM. All right, 6.5 Weatherby RPM, 79.8 grains of water case capacity. Let's talk about the little experience I do have with shooting and hand loading the 6.5 Weatherby RPM. It was with a backcountry 2.0 carbon. Now this rifle had a 24-inch barrel, so I think this cartridge is best suited with a 26, but despite it only having 24-inch barrel, I hand loaded the 143 grain ELDX and we got really good accuracy, sub half MOA. And then with Retumbo, we definitely pushed it to the limits. And with a 24-inch barrel, we easily hit 3,200 feet per second. Now with the 24-inch barrel, it was overpressure and it didn't shoot as well. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. You know, I've always been a 6.5 hater. I've never really paid much attention to the 6.5 Weatherby RPM because, I don't know, it's a 6.5 and I just don't really care. But I have to credit Tim from Little Crow Gunworks YouTube channel teaching me and converting me to the 6.5 Weatherby RPM. You guys should really check out his channel. And he has quite the bold claim that is extremely good. And honestly, in a standard bolt face, a standard length action, there really isn't anything that really beats it. The 7 PRC. Well, let's be honest. This cartridge is loved by many and hated by many. I've definitely been accused of being one of the haters. It's kind of fair. But let's put the record straight. I do think this is a really decent cartridge. It's extremely accurate in a good gun with hand loads. Very accurate. And with a 26-inch barrel, you can get that magical 3,000 feet per second with a 175 grain bullet. Now, I have actually shot both 6.5 Weatherby RPM and 7 PRC. I have a little more experience with the 7 PRC. But let's talk. And I just want to kind of make a point here. I shot a really nice rifle in the 6.5 Weatherby RPM. It was extremely accurate. It did great. Exceeded my expectations. I shot a very budget rifle in the 7 PRC and it was kind of a disaster. And it really soured me on the 7 PRC. And so what's the point I'm trying to make is a rifle really can make or break your opinion on a cartridge. All right, here are the ballistic charts. I've got the 6.5 Weatherby RPM and the 7 PRC next to each other so you can see at the same time. Let's talk about what we're using. We're going to use the exact same type of bullet for both of these. We're going to use them somewhat close in BC. And we're going to use 26-inch barrels for both of these. I think the 7 PRC desperately needs a 26-inch barrel, and the 6.5 Weatherby RPM definitely is better with a 26-inch barrel. The max velocity you're going to see with a 142 grain AccuBall long range in a 6.5 Weatherby RPM with a 26-inch barrel is around 32.25 feet per second, with energy at 3,280 foot-pounds. The recoil, this is calculated with a 9-pound gun, and it's 23. So it's not light, but it's not bad either. Just out to 400 yards, the bolt's going 2615 feet per second, 2,157 foot-pounds of energy, 19.4 inches of drop when zeroed at 100. It's very flat shooting. Out to 600 yards, bolt's going 2340 feet per second, 1,727 foot-pounds, and 57 inches of drop. And that 2.75 is the wind drift in MOA, with a 10-mile-per-hour wind, of course. Now let's take a look on the right side. With 175 ABLR at 3,050 feet per second, you're already seeing almost a 350 foot-pound advantage for the 7 PRC, but you're also a bit more recoil. Out to 400 yards, bullet is going 2483, so already a bit slower than the 6.5 Weatherby RPM, but the 7 PRC is shooting heavier bullets. It's a more versatile cartridge, so it's going to have more energy at almost 2,400 foot-pounds of energy at 400. 22.1 inches of drop. So the 6.5 Weatherby RPM is flatter shooting. Out to 600 yards, bullet's going 2,224 feet per second and has 1,923 foot-pounds. So almost 200 more foot-pounds of energy. And then it has 64.3 inches of drop compared to 57 on the 6.5 Weatherby RPM, and a little bit worse in the wind drift. That velocity of the 6.5 Weatherby RPM does beat it. 7 PRC is neck and neck with a RPM, and it has more energy. Let's talk accuracy. You know, the 7 PRC of late is kind of developing a reputation with, at least with factory ammo, with off-the-shelf rifles, so factory rifles. Accuracy is a little disappointing, which is kind of surprising. It being a PRC, it should be better. As for the 6.5 Weatherby RPM with accuracy and factory ammo, well, there's only one company that makes a Weatherby RPM rifle, at least a factory rifle. And here I go, making a bold claim. I just think you're going to get better accuracy, at least with factory ammo, in a 6.5 Weatherby RPM versus a 7 PRC. Weatherby has more control. They make their own ammo. They make their own rifles. So typically, I'm going to lean towards the 6.5 Weatherby RPM being a little bit more accurate in factory ammo. However, when we switch to hand loads, I've seen it, guys. The 7 PRC is very good with hand loads. I've seen really tiny groups, but I've also seen really good groups with the 6.5 Weatherby RPM. But if I had to just say right now, all things equal, rifles are equally high quality, 7 PRC is going to be a little bit easier to get accurate and probably shoot a little bit smaller groups. But the 6.5 Weatherby RPM is close. All right, so at the end of the day, which cartridge is a better hunting cartridge? Well, I think there's two ways of looking at it. The old way of looking at things is which one has better drop, which one has more energy, which one's more versatile with bullet weights. You kind of have to say the 7 PRC is a better hunting cartridge if you think that way. And that's kind of the way I lean towards. Just the 7 PRC can shoot heavier bullets. It has a wider diameter bullet, which is what I like for hunting. But then you kind of have the new age of thinking is bullet diameter doesn't mean as much. Energy is worthless. All that matters is your velocity so that the bullet opens up. Your wind drift. You can make a very strong argument for those that think that way that this is a better cartridge. It has less recoil than a 7 PRC. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think.